Podcast for the people.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I got my boy Tiago here, man. This is a brother that I've actually known for since I was 13 years old. No lie. So I'm gonna let you introduce yourself, man. Introduce yourself to the people.
Well, what can I say? People know me by Tiago Valencia.
Yes, sir.
Tiago Valencia Productions, my Instagram.
Yes, sir.
I do a couple of different things. I'm a barber. Most people know me as a barber.
My barber.
I'm a designer in visual creative marketing.
Yes, sir.
A graphic designer.
And responsible for not only my introduction to the video, but he's been actually helping me out with the previews, the trailers, and all that, man. So big shout out to my boy for that. Just to start off, man, just to kind of introduce that topic to the audience, what do you think being self-aware means to you?
I'll say so. Let's get deep into it.
Let's talk about
So self-awareness. What is self-awareness to me?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it's just the ability to be able to live consciously, you know, being able to remove yourself from your mind, from your unconscious mind into consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's the ability to do that. Not a lot of people are able to do that because they are trapped in their mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Where, you know what I'm saying, they're living, you know, a rough life because their mind is very dysfunctional. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that's how the mind is. A lot of people think that their mind is them. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people think that whatever is happening in their mind, it's them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really not. You know what I'm saying?
It's what we go through sometimes.
Well, getting deep into it, people don't understand where, you know what I'm saying, how our mind works. Okay? Our mind is pretty much is a tool given by God, right? It's a tool. God gave us our minds to work with us, not against us. You know what I mean?
Correct.
It's a tool. So, a lot of people don't understand that who they think they are and who they identify themselves as, they didn't choose that identity.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's what makes them unconscious. We came into this world, right? And, you know, we were brought into this world not choosing where we wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Yeah.
You were put into the family that you were put into,
Yeah.
not choosing that place that, you know what I'm saying, that you grew up in. Well, you were once this innocent child, right? That was forced to believe, right? Things that was just put in front of you.
Yeah.
You know, by your parents, by your teachers, by your friends, you know what I'm saying, by whoever. And it enters your belief system, right? And it becomes agreement with yourself to where, you know what I'm saying, it becomes you. It becomes your personality. It becomes your identity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It becomes who you think you are in your mind.
So you think it's important to separate the identity of what people think of you compared to what you think of yourself?
So
How,
it is important. It is important to understand who you are,
Mm-hmm.
right? Your true identity and who your mind thinks you are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which is false identity. And your mind, falling into your mind, it's also who people think you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? These identities that come from situations, that come from people, you know what I'm saying? Is being able to identify these things and, you know what I'm saying? Staying with your true identity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Identity where your true happiness lives, the identity where, you know what I'm saying? Your purest potentiality is that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's tough. A lot of people are not able to understand that because it's really deep. You know what I'm saying? And it only goes as far as how your mind is wired.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of things we don't know because it's the way our minds is wired. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, pretty much that, bro. It's just being able to identify these things and not letting it, you know what I'm saying, affect your true identity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're so wrapped up into false identities that, you know, we're living a life that,
really,
you know, it's not us.
It's not really us. Exactly. Okay. So how can you help somebody out there that has a difficulty with finding their true self? Do you think what is the first step, since we're talking about self-awareness and how important it is? What is your number one advice to somebody that's trying to be self-aware with an identity that they thought they knew themselves, but now they're starting to confuse themselves? You know what I mean?
Okay, so I feel becoming aware, right, of your identity, it takes time. You know what I mean? It's not something that happens from day to night. You have to figure out what is wrong in your life. You You know what I mean? Like, you have to figure out, like, you know when something doesn't sit right. You know when you're doing something, or you're going through something, and it's like, maybe the way that you're reacting, the places you're putting yourself in, it's like, okay, this is not me. You know what I mean? You have to become aware of these things. Like, why am I reacting this way? Why am I being this way? Why am I being, you know what I'm saying? Why am I being so aggressive? Why am I speaking this way? And then you have to focus, right, on each identity. You know what I mean? Because each identity that creates you, that creates your personality, right? It comes from a certain place.
It does.
And a lot of times these identities come from a place of fear. You know what I mean? That's why it's really hard for people to be able to re-identify themselves, right? And find their true identity, find out who they really are, because the first identity these first identities that came into their life, when they were innocent, when they had no choice to believe, because they didn't know, they weren't aware. You know what I'm saying? Like, it came from fear. It could have came from a trauma. It could have came from a bad experience. It could have came from a bad teacher. You know what I'm saying? Like, like, it could have came from a place that, like, it was from fear.
So how can you tell the difference between thinking you know yourself versus actually knowing yourself?
To be honest, bro, like, it's a hard question to answer, because you never stop finding yourself.
I feel that. Okay. I
I
like that answer.
You never stop realizing how, like, you thought you knew, but you didn't. Because the mind, bro, the mind is so powerful, and the mind is so strong, and is able to retain so much, right? That what you know based on the way your mind is wired, based on the ability that your mind has, in being able to integrate, you know what I mean? Being able to, like, understand certain things, So it's like, there's a lot of things in your life that you probably gone through that you're like, damn, I thought I knew, like, what I was talking about, but now it's like I know more.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop there. You keep going,
Yeah. And I feel like I could relate to that a lot, because the more you get older, that's why people say the more you get older, the more your circle gets smaller. Or because it's not like you're just purposely trying to cut people off from your life. You just get to a point where you start identifying what's not good for you, and you start knowing what has been feeding well for you, and your surroundings. You start becoming aware of everything, right? And I think I got to a point where personality, I fell victim to having multiple identities, like multiple personalities.
I did too.
Because you get to this point where,
I tell you what, bro, it is impossible for you to truly be happy, right, when you are not living your true self. You know what I mean? Like, it is impossible, bro. Like,
because you're not. None of that stuff is coming from genuinely you.
Living this way, bro, with this, like, unaware of the identities that affect your personality, that bring you these negative things, right? Being unaware of these things, like, not only is affecting you, but you affect others. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You affect your family. You affect your friends. You affect, your partner. You know what I'm saying? Because you're carrying negative things that got attached to you when you were, a kid, or when your past relationship, anything, even yesterday. You know what I'm saying? It's being unconscious of these things and allowing these things to stick with you forever. You know what I mean? So when you become aware, you understand, like, okay, this identity needs to be removed from my life. I need to focus on this identity, and I need to fill it up with a new identity.
Yeah. Okay, I get what you're saying. So re-identifying yourself is super important, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you need to. Like, it's not like you can.
I'll tell you, yeah.
Because you can get to the point where you know yourself, and that's okay. I think anybody can know themselves 100% at a certain time, but you have to recognize that even though you know yourself right now, certain things can happen or whatever. You just go through life, you grow.
A lot of people don't understand, the difference between life and life situation. You know what I mean? Life situation, there's nothing wrong with you, like, working hard and putting overtime in your job to make more money, to make, to give you a bigger house, to give you, what I'm saying, all these things that you dream of, you know what I mean? But that's not life. You know what I mean? Like, life is your true, deepest self being, and that's something that you have to work on in order for you to truly be happy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not try to find happiness, because you're always going to feel empty, bro. Like, this is what your life,
exactly.
Your life defines your self being, and it's already perfect. It's already beautiful. It's already, it's ready for you to feel complete. That's why it's so important right? For us to meditate.
Damn, that makes sense.
That's why it's so important. Why do we meditate? We meditate in order for us to tell our minds, nope, you're not me. I'm me. My soul is me. My deepest self being is me, not you. That's why a lot of people commit suicide. That's why a lot of people kill, you know, because they are so hurt and so trapped into fears of their mind, right, that it controls, right, that it controls their life instead of they control it themselves. They'll do things and they're like, I did that? Like, I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
But it's because they were so lost in their mind,
Unconscious.
Same way, bro. Same way.
Unconscious.
Yeah. Same way of how, like, you know, like not being aware again of these identities hurting you and affecting your life could make you fall into drugs.
Yep.
Could make you fall into, you know what I'm saying, like
Trouble, bro.
like
Trouble.
looking for sex, looking for, you know what I mean, like, or looking for friends to feel, you know, like validation, to feel like, you know, you're somebody, looking for people to praise you, to make you feel like, and to feel in these insecurities. Like, you know, you have to free yourself from these things because you don't have to suffer. You understand what I'm saying? So when you work on yourself and you really take the time to understand what we just talked about, a lot of people will get a headache. They'll listen to us and they'll be like, man, they're crazy. Like, you know what I mean? But those be the ones that continue suffering, you know? When you understand these things and you work with yourself, right? And you put as much work as you put on the outside, right? On your situation, you put it in the inside, bro, the outside comes. Yeah. Good things come to you. You attract good people. You attract opportunities. You enter what I told you. You enter this place that is called your pure potentiality, where everything comes easy. That where you make your best decisions. When your nature inclination is to do the right thing always, without having to think about it.
Without even having to get to that point where you get.
You know, because that's being conscious. Yeah. You become right. You become the watcher and not the reactor. When you're a conscious living, you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. You don't get affected by people when you're a conscious person. You know what I mean? You could hear so many things that, you know, like you might think it offend you, but once you become conscious, these things don't live in you. You know what I'm saying? You could come and tell me, yo, I think you stink, right? Or I think you messing up and you and you telling me things that are based on your reality, trying to hurt me. So many people, you know, take these things personal and it eats them up.
And it eats them
but
up.
when you work on yourself and you work on become unconscious, right? Yo, your peace is worth everything. So these things literally slide off of you and don't affect you. They don't become your agreements in life. They don't become your identities. So when you live with that self-awareness, you live such a easier to enjoy life. You know what I'm saying? Like you treat people better, you treat yourself better, you love yourself more. Self-love is so important.
Yeah, love always conquers, bro. Love conquers all, bro.
Self-love, bro. That's what you know. If right now you're trying to figure out, like, okay, what do I do? You know what I mean? Like, why would I do that? Self-love. If you love yourself, you're gonna do these things. Don't expect to be able to love somebody correctly. Don't expect to be able to love your partner. Don't expect to be able to love your kids the right way if you can't even love yourself. You know what I'm saying?
And I was just tweeting about that the other day. I think I tweeted that today. I was like, I said before anybody, and this can relate to a lot of things, but as I related it to relationships. Before you get into a relationship, ask yourself, are you emotionally available? Or do you just need somebody else to help love yourself?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's really, I mean, bro, just what you said just now.
And like, I mean, we're humans, bro.
Yeah, we are humans.
There's nothing wrong with you feeling. There's nothing wrong with, you know what I'm saying? It's just what's wrong with it. It's how it affects your life.
Yep, exactly.
You know what I mean? If you feel pain, feel it.
Yep.
If somebody disappointing you, feel it. You know what I'm saying? And have compassion.
Yeah.
That's why, you know, it's so important. That's why it's so important for myself to identify myself, re-identify myself through Jesus Christ. Because when you understand how powerful and how beautiful God's grace is, bro, you don't suffer. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't allow anybody to affect your life. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what God's grace is. You know what I mean? God's grace comes to you fresh every single morning. If you messed up yesterday, guess what? God's grace. Keep going. Don't do it again. Keep going, but don't allow your guilt and shame continue leaving you stuck in these unconscious world, because that's what the enemy wants. The enemy wants to define you by your scars, and Jesus wants you to define yourself through his scars. He already won the battle for you. He already suffered for you. You don't have to suffer these things that are in your mind. Release yourself from these things. Release yourself from your mind, from these identities that you didn't choose. You know what I mean? Yeah, you chose to be around this person. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, you chose to move to the certain location, but you didn't know those things were gonna happen. Allow those things to become, you know what I'm saying, an experience that you learn from, not something that brings fear into your life and that affects your way of living. You know what I'm saying? And then you're infecting everybody else through these identities that you weren't able to
take control of when you could have.
To let go because, you know, based on fear or based on not being aware.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Amen. Hold up, let me. I got you. But hey, bro, like this is, I mean, that was the best way to wrap it up, bro. Honestly, like just, you know, you pretty much broke it down step by step of first how important it is to the first step of how to realize it, to knowing that it's a never-ending journey that you're gonna have to keep re-identifying yourself, and then also to the end where you're just like,
I just want to say something real quick.
Talk to me.
Whatever you're going through, hey, love yourself. You know what I mean? You could come out of that. You could stop suffering. You could stop feeling all those negative things that you're feeling within yourself. Just think about love. Love is very powerful. Love will remove every negative thing from your life. Think of love. Love yourself. And allow God to love you, because God is the God of love. Understand?
But then don't stay boxed in.
Nah.
Right? Now, everybody have a good day.